Hey guys, so we have the information on the upcoming Dokkan Fest exclusive transforming BOJACK, as well as the new banner unit Zangu is coming along with him. So I went ahead and did my translations for the units, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at them, and then we'll talk for a little bit about both their design and basically on what teams I feel like they could do well on, and my overall thoughts on the units as a whole, because these days I do have pretty high standards for this game at this point. They've shown that they can do some pretty cool stuff, so I don't know, we'll figure out and see how good these guys look on paper for now, because obviously we can't test them in game yet. So this is the art for BOJACK. Actually, the pre-transform art looks pretty good with the background there. And then I'm not going to actually look at the transformation animation right now, but it does actually look pretty cool. It's very fluid. It's pretty much exactly what happened in the movie, so as you would expect. So here we go. Here's BOJACK. The first thing to notice is he actually is an STR type, which is a little bit disappointing just because I feel like we've been getting just spammed with STR units left and right, especially on the Terrifying Conquerors team. I mean, we have the Turles LR, we have the first form Prime Battle Frieza who just got an easy A. Now this BOJACK's coming out. You can obviously run this guy on rotation with himself, untransformed and post-transformation. So there's a lot going on for Extreme STR right now, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, I don't know, I feel like getting a lot of the same types back to back like that can be just like, okay, can we get a different typing here? Like maybe Tech? I don't know. Tech is definitely the worst extreme class typing in the game. But here we go. So this is BOJACK, Lord of Slaughter. Leader skill is the Space Traveling Warriors, category Key +3, HP attack and defense plus 170%, or Time Travelers, category Key +3, HP attack and defense plus 150%. So Space Traveling Warriors is the new category that is led by this BOJACK. Just off the bat here, I am not really disappointed by that, but I would have rather had him lead Inhuman Deeds over something like a new category. Because Inhuman Deeds, we've had that category in the game since LR Vegeta and Nappa released, and they have yet to really give us a true Dokkan Fest level leader for that category, because remember, the Vegeta and Nappa are 130% leads for that category. We could really use a 170 leader for that category because it could be a real category that people actually run. Whereas right now with Vegeta and Nappa as leaders and it being 130, it's like, no one really uses that category. So Space Traveling Warriors, I mean, technically there's a few different translations you can put for this. So the word that they use is Uchu, which could be seen as universe, but it could also be used as space, and I think space fits this character more than just universe. So yeah, universe Traveling Warriors, Space Traveling Warriors. I think Space Traveling Warriors does sound better, so that's why I went with that. But in terms of who's going to be in there, I mean, you're looking at like Frieza's, Coolers, probably not Cells, right? Cell doesn't make sense. Maybe like Jiren, maybe like the Universe 6 people, because they all traveled, right? They all traveled through space at some point. Beerus will probably be there. I don't know, we could take a look at the other stuff in like the categories we have up here. So Cell would not be in there. A lot of good guys would probably be in there. Trunks would not be in there probably, but like some forms of Goku. Boo would be in there most likely because Boo does go around different planets. Goku Black would probably be in there as well. Again, we're just basing this off of the fact that that's the naming that we have for the category. So it's really hard to tell. It is a pretty subjective name, I would say. But, as always, subjective names aren't really too high on my list of things that I like about this game, but whatever. Super attack is the Cosmic Bomber. Raises attack and defense for 1 turn and causes immense damage. Not terrible, but not amazing. His passive is Universe's Hooligan. Attack and defense plus 100%. Space Traveling Warrior category allies Key +2 and attack and defense plus 30% when there's 1 or more enemy. So the reason why they do 1 or more enemies is because of the rest of this passive, otherwise they would never tell you that. But so right off the bat we can tell that he is pretty much Cooler. He is literally almost exactly like Cooler in terms of his first form there. So he grants an additional attack and defense plus 10% when there are 2 or more enemies, and an additional attack and defense plus 10% when there are 3 or more enemies. So if you're fighting 3 or more enemies, he's going to be giving a 50% and Key 2 buff to the new Space Traveling Warriors category. So again, it's going to completely depend on who is actually in this category, but again, like there's going to be a lot of powerful characters in here, like Cooler. Like honestly, a rotation where you have like this BOJACK and like a Cooler, or maybe like 2 of one and 1 of the other, you're going to be getting ridiculous amounts of support from that rotation because they're all going to be in Terrifying Conquerors as well as the Space Traveling Warriors, and they're all going to be in Transformation Boost as well because remember, this BOJACK does transform. So I feel like this BOJACK was pretty much made to run alongside Cooler, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, we can take a look at these other tabs I have up here later. Let's just go through the rest of the card for now. So his active skill is Transformation, and the one thing I really don't like about this are the conditions. So able to be used once 4 turns have elapsed, which is good. That itself is not a bad condition, but there's also an extra condition that forces you to be playing against or facing off against one enemy. That I don't like. Now you can make the argument where, you know, after 4 turns you're most likely going to be whittling the enemy forces down to 1 enemy, but there are instances where that's not going to be the case every single time, I would say. I just don't understand why they felt the need to add this extra condition in there. I feel like at this stage of the game where you have certain units that are like Frieza, who are able to transform turn 1 for free with no condition, like what is the purpose of just adding these unnecessary facets of these conditions? I don't get it. So obviously the ability is just Transformation, and then he goes into his full power form. His links are Heraclan, Galactic Warrior, Big Bad Bosses, Thirst for Conquest, Coward, Revival, Fierce Battle. So obviously the 2 big ones for him, I would say, are actually Heraclan and Galactic Warrior, because with the LR they share those links. With himself, he shares those links, because just a little bit of a spoiler, his links are unchanged once he transforms. So you can link this guy untransformed along with his post-transformation state, and they will share all 7 links with each other, which is going to be very, very important. Then the categories, he is on Space Traveling Warriors, Time Travelers, Resurrected Warriors, Movie Bosses, Full Power, Terrifying Conquerors, Inhuman Deeds, and then Transformation Boost. So the one thing that I would say I really like about this unit the most, probably just off the bat, is the fact that we are finally getting a Time Travelers leader, another one besides Goku Black. The only thing I don't like about that is that it's still only a 150% lead. So again, I really do want to see eventually, at some point in time, which we'll eventually get, but a 170% leader for this category, because that would change the game a lot, because this category is secretly one of the better ones in the game, but up until this point, the leaders haven't been there. Like, Goku Black is fine, but he's not like one of these new age, modern Dokkan Fest exclusives who are able to just carry the team by themselves. So I would have loved to see this at 170, at least for attack. But unfortunately, they did just go with 150, which we have to live with. But again, I'm just happy that we have another leader for this category. And then when he transforms, full power BOJACK here, his super attack becomes the Grand Smasher, raises attack and causes immense damage, so he does start to infinitely stack his attack. I would have liked to see maybe one other effect on there, maybe lowers attack or something. That would have been cool. And then this passive goes to Unmatched in the Universe. Key +3 and attack and defense plus 180%, so obviously very high boost. Performs an additional attack that is a medium chance to become a super attack, so that's good. Then he gains an additional attack plus 30% and defense plus 15% when collecting 3 or more key spheres. And then he gains an additional attack plus 30% and defense plus 15% when collecting 6 or more key spheres. So keep in mind, these extra boosts that he's getting from collecting more key spheres, those are actually calculated on super attack. So although this might not look like a big boost, you can't just look at this extra 60% attack he'll be getting and be like, oh, he's getting, he's getting a 240% buff. No, it doesn't work like that. It's the 60% gets factored in after this has already been calculated. So it's, if you've used LR Int Cell and you've had him transform, this part of the passive works much like that part of Cell's passive does. So this is actually going to make a giant difference. The problem is just going to get him the key spheres. So obviously he's going to work very well with Orb Changers, which is probably something you're going to have to consider when you're making his team. But, okay, that is BOJACK. Let's go ahead and talk about Zangief real fast, and then we'll move on to sort of my analysis or discussion that I want to talk about. So Zangief, Evil Binding, leader skill is Space Traveling Warriors, Key 3, HP, and attack and defense plus 120%. Super attack is causes supreme damage and lowers attack and defense, which is fine. Passive is the Galactic Warriors Loyalty, attack and defense plus 30%. Per Space Traveling Warriors category ally on the team, performs an additional attack that has a medium chance to become a super attack if there is a character whose name includes BOJACK attacking in the same turn. Attacked enemies attack and defense minus 20%, and then recovers 10% HP at the start of the turn. Links are Heraclan, Galactic Warrior, Battlefield Diva, Brutal Beat Down, Revival, Shocking Speed, Fierce Battle. So they gave her Shocking Speed, which is very, very good, and obviously she does have these Heraclan and Galactic Warriors links, which are going to make her link up pretty well with the BOJACK we just looked at. And then categories are Space Traveling Warriors, Peppy Gals, Resurrected Warriors, Time Travelers, and Terrifying Conquerors. So, first thing I want to talk about here in terms of what I think about this BOJACK is, I've already talked about my thoughts on the unit overall. I think he's fine. But the main issue I have is he's literally a copy and paste of this unit. Attack and defense plus 100%, transformation boost, category odds, key plus 2, attack. Literally just saying, like, 2 or more enemies, he's getting 50% attack and defense, key +2. Guess what this unit's doing? There's 3 or more enemies. He's giving this new category key +2, attack and defense +50% because it's all these buffs in one. The only difference between these two units is that Cooler has a much higher attack stat, because we can actually go and look. Let me pull it up on a separate tab, but basically Cooler and BOJACK are the same. Cooler is just able to support 2 different categories based on the conditions of the battle, if you're fighting multiple enemies or just one enemy. Whereas this BOJACK, I mean, we could take a look at his stats here. So right here, his stats are not that high. He's not going to break 16,000 attack. I mean, he will if you give him a skill orb, but that is a very, very low attack stat for a Dokkan Fest exclusive in this day and age. I mean, take a look at Cooler's stats. Cooler is at 17.5k. He's going to have, like, approaching a 2,000 higher attack stat at Rainbow than BOJACK does. Because look at his just regular base attack, 12.1k. BOJACK's at 10.4. That's a 1,700 attack difference. That's big. But on the other hand, he has 7,800 defense, whereas Cooler has 5,555. So in terms of defense, I think this BOJACK is going to shine a lot more than Cooler, but you know, there's a bit of a trade-off there. I think attack does end up mattering more than defense does, especially when you're considering what this guy is doing. But I mean, again, the one thing I'm disappointed about is the fact that how similar they made this BOJACK. It's like they took Cooler and they were like, okay, how can we just turn this into BOJACK, right? So, we'll see. That's BOJACK. And then the second one is Zangia. I mean, you could literally look at the same thing with Cooler. You'd look at Thouser. Technically, it's the Cooler's Armored Squadron Thouser, but it's the same unit. It's like they took the Cooler banner and they're like, okay, let's turn this into a BOJACK banner. Because look at this. Go back to Zangia real quick and close this out. Attacking units +30% per space traveling warriors category on the team. Attacking units +30% per terrifying conquerors category on the team. And then this guy has a chance to launch 2 additional attacks when there's an ally whose name includes Cooler. And then Zangia performs an additional attack that has a medium chance to become a super attack if there's a character's name includes BOJACK attacking in the same turn. So, like, and then they lower attack and defense on super attack, so does Zangia. Like, they're literally the same unit. The only thing Zangia is doing more than Thouser is she has these additional effects at the end. They were like, okay, take the skeleton of Thouser, give it to Zangia, and then add some extra effect on the end there, just for good measure. That's literally what happened. Now, do I think Zangia is a better unit than Thouser is? Yeah, 100%. The reason being, again, these extra effects at the end, and I feel like her links are actually going to more so benefit the Dokkan Fest exclusive that she is releasing with more than Thouser, because Thouser doesn't link up well with Cooler, whereas Zangia is going to link up really well with BOJACK. So, yeah, we even have a comment here. She's just Thouser. It's true. So in terms of creativity, I'm going to give this release like a 2 out of 10. But I am grateful that they finally are giving us a time traveler's leader, and I'm interested in seeing what this category ends up being. Although I'm not the most enthusiastic about them just constantly releasing new categories. I would much rather have preferred they take the physical Frieza route, where they just take 2 older categories and give it a key +4 buff. Again, Inhuman Deeds would be my pick for what I would want to see this guy lead, but unfortunately we didn't get that. I mean, super attack animations are cool. Transformation at active skill is pretty cool. I would have preferred a different condition here, but I mean, it's not too bad. But you guys can let me know down below what you think about this new BOJACK as well as the Zangia unit. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one.